so let's do our next circle, right? We need another circle. So what we're going to do is pretty much all the information is given to us right here, right? This is the setup for a circle. So let's click, hold down, and let's drag a window over everything, and it'll all highlight green, right? Now let's do Control C again. Let's copy it, and let's paste it. Now if it pastes right on top of it, don't freak out. You can just grab it and bring it down, right? And feel free to move, you know, kind of get things sort of set for yourself. Yeah, so Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Another way to do it, I'll show you, is if you select it all, you can come up here to edit. You can hit copy, click, and then go edit, paste. And that'll get you a secondary version of it. Okay, so we have another circle here, right? But the radius was different. Does anybody remember what the radius was? 2, right? So let's click on the number, and let's go set number, and let's change that to 2, and let's commit it. Now if everybody looks at the Rhino screen, you can see now we have 2 circles going. There were always 2 circles there. Once we copied this down, they were just overlapping each other. But now that we changed the radius of the circle, it's become bigger, right? But what was the difference between the bigger and the smaller circle, right? They weren't both on this plane, right? They both weren't existing flat like that, right? We also had a height, correct, in the z-axis, right? So how can we do that? How can we bring that circle up, right?
Remove that z, make another integer.
There we go. So what we're going to do is we're right here, z is going up and down. That's your z-axis, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to hold control. We're going to unplug this guy, right? We're going to go up to in parameters, under primitives. We're going to do another integer and go ahead and drop that in. And let's already set that integer, right? And I believe the height of this cup was 5 exactly. So let's type 5 in and hit commit changes. And now that it's turned green and it's not orange anymore, there's a value inside that component. And if you highlight over it and you're wondering how much it's set, it says it right there, one locally defined value of 5. And let's connect this guy to Z. Boom. Now it's gone up. Is everybody following how that's working so far? Yeah? So this component, and I'm just going to backtrack just slightly. This right here is your point, right? And when I click it, if you look in Rhino, it highlights green, right? The one below is red. I'm clicking on this component because I've selected it. In Rhino, it's green right there. It's telling me that that's the circle, or that's the point, this component right here, that I'm selecting. So it definitely has a marker or a notation from green and red to let you know what you've selected and where it is in the 3D space. Okay, so now that we got this up, we're doing good here. We almost got it, right? We got our 2 curves. You guys are wondering, why is it taking so long, right? This is taking forever. We could have built it in Rhino in 30 seconds, right? We'll get there. There's a reason why it's taking this long. Okay, so what was the next thing we had to do in Rhino?
Loft.
We had the loft, right? So where would loft be?
Surface.
Yep. Right, because lofting creates a surface between 2 curves. So under the surface tab, under free form, you can see it. It's right here. It's these squiggly lines. And you know what? It's also here as well because it gets used a lot. But you can either click here or you can, click on the free form black tab and click on it. And let's drop it in the front here to the right. Okay, so there's our loft, right? Now, everybody remember what I said about the whole you select a component and it'll show up in Rhino, right? So right now I selected this component, and it tells me it's the top, right? I select this one, and it tells me it's the bottom. So that comes into play when you're lofting things together. When you loft things, you need to loft them in a specific order. I'll show you why right now. Let's say, for instance, right, I'm going to try and connect the top. Actually, let me go, before I do that, I'm going to just show you the loft. So what's all the different things that loft says here? We have a C, right? So curves. Right now it's empty. Well, we have two curves right here, don't we? Two circles. So we can fill that thing up. Beneath the curves, we have an O, options, right? So that's where you can input different lofting options. Under loft, it tells you a little bit about it. Create a loft surface through a set of selected curves. And right now it's saying it's lacking the data. We're going to do that right now. We're going to fill it up. And then the result of it will be a loft. So now let me get back to what I was saying. So I'm going to, first off, and I'm selecting this one here, and it's the top, right? So I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to plug it in, right? And then when I go and try to plug this one in, look what happens. The other one pushes it out, right? And then you start going, okay, what the heck's going on here? Why can't I get this to work, right? And I'll show you why. What you need to do is you need to input these things in a certain order when you're lofting something, right? So we're going to input the lower circle first, and then the upper circle second. So let's bring in the lower circle first, which actually in our canvas happens to be on top. Don't get confused by that. And then let's bring in the other one. Now it didn't work again, right? You're wondering what the heck's going on. So this is where you have to hold down shift. So hold down shift and bring that thing in, and there it is. Now we've lofted a surface between our two curves. And this is that red solo cup you saw earlier that I had on the screen. Everybody, let's double click up here on Grasshopper, and let's close it up real quick. And you can see we basically have the same thing going on here. I think we're still missing a bottom, right? We don't have that bottom yet. We'll get to it. But you can see we're almost there. Now, one interesting thing about Grasshopper is you try and select this here, and you can't, right? It's not even, you can't even highlight anything, you can't do anything. And the reason why is because it still lives inside of Grasshopper. All it is these components telling it to exist but not be physical. And I will show you how to make these things physical once we add a bottom to this. So let's add a bottom, right? How did we add a bottom in Rhino? Planar, right? So where could that one be, huh? In the surface? Could it be here? Is this it? Let's drop this down. Maybe, maybe not. Could it be in vector? I'm going to pause it and let you guys re-record. Okay, so in order to find out how to do a planar surface, and it doesn't translate 100% from Rhino to Grasshopper, as you can see, you're going to need to choose boundary surface. When you highlight over it there, you can read it. Create planar surface from a collection of boundary edge curves. So let's click that, and let's drop it on there, right? So there's our boundary. And it says the same thing again, create planar surface from a collection of boundary edges. What does the E say? Let's guess. Edges. So, boundary curves, right? And currently it's empty. And what's the other side say? Resulting boundary surface. So that's going to be your result. Does that kind of make sense with the whole you input what the curve is and you output a surface?
So do we have a circle at the edges?
Exactly. So which one is our top and which one's our bottom here? Looks like this one, based off of that green right there,
Yeah, it's the bottom.
tells us that, right? So let's do this. We need to connect this curve into that edge, right? And once you do that, look at there. If you orbit in Rhino, you'll see it's created the bottom for you. And you can easily do this again and copy it and connect the top as well, and you could close the entire shape if you wanted to, but then that would defeat the purpose of it being a red solo cup, right? So now that we've got that, we basically are at the exact same point as we were in Rhino. We are pretty much there. The only thing is it doesn't quite exist yet in Rhino. I can't select it. So we'll get there. Now, one thing, maybe I might not have covered this in Rhino yesterday. And so I'll just do it really quickly and then I'll do it in Grasshopper so you can see. In Rhino, I didn't tell you guys that, you could join together your surfaces. So right now, this bottom is independent from this top. See how you select them and they're separate? So what we're going to do, and I'm a typer, I'm going to say I want to join. So in Rhino, let's type join in the command line. So what does it tell us? Select object for join. So let's select both. I think it should say select surfaces, but that's fine. Select objects. So I selected one, I selected two, and then I hit enter, right? And look, it says creating mesh, and then it was done. Now when I select one area of it, it selects both because now they're joined together. So now this has become one piece. You can't. They're not interdependent of each other. They are dependent now of each other because you've joined them together. Now, real quick, if you have something joined together and you want them to be separate, what are you going to do? What was that? Close. You're almost there. But the word for it is explode. So there's that idea again of that you construct something and you deconstruct it. This is in Rhino versus doing it in Grasshopper. It's a little bit different. But so in order to do that, you can either type explode, or if you look right here, I mean, that screams explode from a distance. I could look at that and be like, okay, something's exploding right here. You can click this right here in the side toolbar and, it'll explode it. And now they are separate again from each other. So I'm gonna hit join and just keep them joined together just so they move together with each other. Select them both and hit enter. So now they're one again. So let's do the same thing for this. So that way when we bring it into Rhino, it's one instead of two pieces. So let's open up the Grasshopper. Back open again. Now I'm gonna search for this one. This is something new. This entire time so far, I've had you click through these to find your components. And this component does exist up here, but what I'm going to show you is you guys can double click on the canvas and you get enter a search, right? So that search right there works just the same as the command line does in Rhino. So what we want to do is we want to join, right? So let's start typing the word join here. We got join curves, join. Now the one we're going to select is this one right here. I still don't quite understand what brep means. I'll look it up and get it for you guys. I honestly, off the top of my head right now, I can't think of what the heck brep means right now. But that's the one we're going to use, and it's going to allow us to connect our two surfaces together. So, what's the easiest way to do that? We have our loft, right, which I highlighted here, and it's in green. And we have our boundary, which is on the bottom, right? So we got our two surfaces here, and we want to join them, right? So the best way to do that, and let me just show you real quick what the B stands for. Brep join. Empty currently. So let's go ahead and take our resulting boundary surface, and let's connect it in. Right? Now that it's connected in, you could see that the color of this component changed, right? It went from orange to gray. Now it's got a value. What's the value? One value inherited from one source. So this is the source, and this inherited that source. Now the other thing we need to connect is our loft, right? We want to connect both these in here. Now that same situation happens again, right? So what are we going to do? We're going to hold down Shift. You hold down Shift. Now they're both brought in, and now they're both connected. So now when you click the join, look, they both highlight in the green color, whereas before they were independent pieces. So now it's become one whole piece, right? We have our cup. We finally did it. So let's pause here. I'm going to save this video, and I'll do one more, and we can wrap up this part of the tutorial.